Good morning, little warriors. How is everyone this morning? Just give everyone a second to jump on before we begin our first lesson on forgiveness. Okay, so if there is anybody around who would love to jump on this call with me and I can take them through the lesson, it might be helpful for everybody else. But at the moment, I'm here on my own. So let's just see how we go. Okay. Where is everyone? Probably enjoying their Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon with their families. So yesterday I was working with a client and I use this technique a lot in my work. So when we have trauma and when we have those memories of things that really have really affected us, there's always some kind of element within ourselves that we need to forgive. Yeah? So, hi Marianne, how are you? Thank you for joining. I would just like to ask you, because we're doing the lesson on forgiveness today, so I would like to invite you to jump on this call with me. Come on the live if you want to, if you feel comfortable to, and I can take you through this first lesson of forgiveness. And maybe in doing that, it will help the others instead of me just talking on my own. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, I will just continue on my own. So up to you. What do you think? Just waiting for a response. So we're just talking about forgiveness, okay? So whatever it is that's happened, is there... I'll invite you. Okay, hang on, let me invite you. Here we go. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I'm not going live, am I? If you're happy to, would you be happy to jump on this live? Up to you. Completely up to you. But if you are happy to come on this live, I can take you through this lesson of forgiveness, and maybe in doing so, it will help other people be inspired to come on a live with me. You know, I used to be terrified of lives. I never wanted to show my face to anyone. No, okay, that's okay. You don't have to come on. It's absolutely no pressure at all. But maybe one day you would like to come on. But if there's anybody else on here who would like to jump on a live with me, all you have to do is there's a button down the bottom where it says request to join the live. And if you request to join the live, then I will just accept and you can come on and we can have a discussion about the topic of forgiveness. So, okay, so the topic of forgiveness, this is all about forgiving yourself. Yeah? Okay, you do that, Marianne. Okay, we'll chat next time. So this is all about you learning how to forgive yourself. Yeah, this is the whole point of this exercise, is to forgive yourself. So let's think about the situation that holds you back the most from your childhood. Yeah, let's think about that one experience. Hi, David. Welcome to the lesson today. Let's think about that one experience that holds you back from your childhood. That one experience that you just think about over and over again, or you feel about over and over again. You know, that experience that still haunts you. What is it? What is it? If you have a piece of paper and a pen, it'd be really great if you can take some notes now. So whatever that experience is, hi Martha, whatever that experience is, write it down. What is that one experience that you constantly play over again in your mind? And when you've written it down, just give me a thumbs up, or when you've thought of it and you know what it is, you've got a clear image of what that is, just give me a thumbs up or a heart, so I know that we're all going at the same pace. If you need me to slow down, just tell me to slow down. So does everyone have that memory or that experience? Just take your time. So what we want to do is we want to think about how many years have you been thinking about no memory, just feelings? Great. So David, that as long as you have that feeling, that if it's the feeling that keeps coming up, then that feeling is here to tell us that, there's something we need to work on there. There's something that is calling us to look at, to learn about. So as long as you all have that feeling or that memory and it's present here today, you can feel it right now, you know what it is, write that down, and then think about how long have you been carrying this memory for? How long have you... So I'll give you an example. When I was little, I wanted to be an actress. It's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was to be an actress. And I remember trying to find a way to imagine how I was going to make that happen, right? How was I going to make that happen as a little girl? I think I was probably about 10. And I remember my auntie was taking us somewhere, and she was talking to us. So I was in the back seat of her car, and she was saying to me, what do you want to do when you get older? And I said to her, I want to be an actress. And she said to me, well, that's silly. And I was like, I think I actually asked her, why is that silly? And she said, because to become a successful actress, there's only way you can do that. Only one way you can do that, and that is your way. The way to do it is to sleep with everybody. She goes, do you want to be having sex with all these men? Do you want to sleep your way to the top? Because that's what you have to do to be a successful actress. Now, I was 10, and I remember in that moment feeling completely crushed, because there was a deep knowing that I had within me that, I knew somewhat about sex, but there was a deep knowing within me that that's not the kind of person that I wanted to be. I didn't want to sleep around with men to become a successful actress. I wanted to succeed in that. I wanted to use my acting skills to become a successful actress. I know, right? Marianne, pretty full on, yeah? And I was crushed. In that moment, I began to believe that there was no way I was going to become a successful actress. And I didn't become a successful actress, yeah? And that memory has stayed with me for a really long time. And it crushed me, because it crushed my spirit. It crushed my hope. It crushed my joy of my dream to become an actress and what my life was going to be like. Now, I know that isn't as severe as some of the other things that people are dealing with, like childhood abuse and sexual assault and things like that, but I'm just giving you an example, okay? So for me, that memory is still there. So that tells me that there's something there that I need to forgive myself about. So for years after that, I beat myself up that I never succeeded. And I did try. I went and joined an agency, and I used to go do auditions and things, but I never got anywhere, because deep down I had this belief that I was never going to make it as a Hollywood actress. And the belief was that I had to sleep my way to the top. So it didn't matter how well I performed, my belief was always going to stop me from becoming a successful Hollywood actress, right? So I've carried that for probably, well, how old am I now? I've carried that for 27 years. Bang. 27 years I have carried that memory and that belief. Yeah? Yes, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Yeah? So I could look at this, Marianne, I could look at this situation and go, my auntie ruined my dream. She spoilt my dream. I could look at it like that, yeah? Or I could, and even if that is, you know, as children, we're very vulnerable. We believe adults. We look up to them like they're gods. So yes, maybe she did. But now I want to heal that, yeah? So I have to look at it as if I allowed her to spoil my dreams, yeah? I allowed her to ruin that for me. So as a child, my perception of things, like I don't have all of the information. I didn't know that adults say things like this to stop you from doing things, to stop you from, you know, playing out your dreams or living out your dreams. But as an adult, it's my responsibility to forgive myself for blaming myself for never making it as an actress, right? So this is the letter of forgiveness that I'm going to write today. I'm going to forgive myself for allowing one person to change the way that I looked at my dreams, and I'm going to forgive myself for carrying that for the last 27 years. Right? So, and I keep saying this over and over again in my work, that what happened to us as children is not fair, and it is horrible. And the more of you beautiful people I connect with, the more horror stories I hear, the more I understand that if we don't heal these wounds, if we actually, as adults, if we don't heal these wounds, we're still letting what happened to us 27 years ago affect us today. So essentially, we're allowing our past to rob us of our present. So that is why I do this work, because I know that when you begin to heal, you can really, really step into the present moment. So Martha's just saying, I've been an artist from a young age. My father said I would never be good. Well, I am good. His remarks stopped me in my tracks. So Martha, what are we going to do about this belief? Yeah. So if he instilled this belief in you that you would never be good enough, but you know, like, so the adult part of you creates this beautiful art, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I did that. But the younger part of you has this belief that you're not good enough. They're in conflict. Yeah? So this belief, this deep-seated belief that was created by your father that you believed, and the adult version of you are in conflict. So where you're probably really good at this art and manifesting and doing all of these things, that belief holds you back from succeeding. So, but that can be changed, yeah? So this is one way. One way to become more aware of who you are is to remove these things that we carry. We've got to remove them out of the body, yeah? And then when we remove them out of our body, our perception changes, our perspective changes, and we begin to see things from through adult eyes, from an adult point of view. So you need to forgive yourself for allowing yourself to carry this belief for so long. Yeah, does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions before I go on? Any questions? Okay, so the next thing to write down is think about what are the things you say to yourself about this situation, and what are the things you believe about yourself about this situation. So for me, having my auntie tell me that the only way to become a successful actress was to sleep my way to the top made me believe that there was no other way. Yeah? And that I didn't have what it takes to become a successful actress. So that belief of not feeling good enough. You're not good enough to be a successful actress. And then when I failed, when I would go to auditions and I would fail, I just amplified that shame and that criticism. I used to just say, see, I knew you weren't good enough. You didn't even get that role. You couldn't even make that part. You didn't even get that. So I just continued to criticize myself, to beat the shit out of myself. And that story went on and on and on for a long, long time. So what is it for you? What is that? What are the things you say about yourself? What does that chitter chatter inside of your voice say over and over again? What are the thought patterns that go around and around and around that are super destructive for you? Write that down. So David's saying, from birth, overwhelming sense of loneliness. Okay, David, so you're saying, okay, so in this situation, David, with you're saying from birth, this overwhelming sense of loneliness, and I was talking about this in another group this morning, that it all begins in the womb, yeah? In fact, it all begins from preconception, because just as we take on our parents' looks, their hair color, their mannerisms, all of that stuff that we take on from our parents, we also take on their emotions, their belief systems, their conditioning. That is all passed down to us through our genes, yeah? All of it. And so for you, David, I would look at what happened when you were in the womb. You know, what happened when... What was your mother's pregnancy like? Did she have fear? Did she feel alone? Some of the stuff that we carry that we don't quite understand possibly may not be our own. It may be, but it possibly may not be. So if you were from birth, what happened? What happened during your birth? There's a solution, and really to begin to change this, we have to become super aware of our story, of our history, of the history of our families, of our generations, so that we can begin to change that. But David, I'd like to hear more about this. You're welcome, Martha. Hi, Fletton. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Yes, forgiving ourselves is the first step. I'm still learning to do it. Yeah. So this will be a great exercise for you. So today we're talking about writing a letter of forgiveness to yourself, and there's just a few steps that I'm getting everyone to write down. So the next one would be, what is the repetitive? You're welcome, David. Marianne's just saying, from a past life. Okay. Great. If you believe it is from a past life, then that's something you can work on as well. But in today's session, we're talking about this present lifetime. So before we go back into past lives, it is so important to work on the current life that we are in right now, right here. Let's get super, super aware of what's happening for us today, and then we can explore more past life stuff. But if that's where you're being drawn, I recommend you find someone to support you in delving into the past life work. So the next thing to write down is, what is the repetitive regret or thought pattern? So for me, after the story that I've just told, the repetitive regret is that I never really looked at. Well, I guess the regret is that I gave up on my dream. Yeah, I gave up on my dream, but then it was kind of still there, but I never really got into it. It was always just half-hearted. My dream, I distinctly remember that feeling of before I got in the car and feeling how I felt about my dream to how I felt about my dream after I got out of that car. Very different, very different. So when I got into the car, I was a little girl. I was 10 years old. I was excited about who I wanted to be as an adult, what I wanted to do when I grew up. And then when I got out of that car, I was crushed. I was crushed by what I'd heard, by what she had said to me. So that would be my regret, my repetitive regret. And my repetitive thought pattern is that I'm not good enough. And that's spread out into all areas of my life. That's spread out into, into my marriage, that I was never a good enough wife. That spread out into my parenting, where I knew I was a really good mum. There's still elements of that where I'm like, gee, I'm not that good, or I should be better here, or elements of I never felt like that I was a good housewife. Like I just never felt good enough. No matter what I did, I never felt good enough. Now, whether I was good enough or I wasn't actually good enough, it didn't matter because I carried that belief. Yeah, I wore the glasses of not being good enough. So it didn't matter where I went and what I did. I would always see my life that I was not good enough. And so how did that manifest in my life? Well, I would create experiences with people like my ex-husband or my family or my friends. I would create experiences for myself because I carried this belief where I would feel even more that I wasn't good enough, because that's what happens when we carry a belief or an energy. It just comes back to us. We attract more of it. And so it's really important to look at your beliefs and what you actually believe yourself. What glasses do you see the world through? And when you do that, then you begin to become aware of what it is that you can change. So I know that I'm good enough. I know that I'm a great mother. I know that I'm good enough to be sitting on this live with you guys, supporting you through this lesson. So there's the adult version of me that knows all this stuff. But if there's that deep-seated belief that I'm not good enough, then they're going to clash. It's the clash. It's the clashing again. Yeah. So really important. So that's what I'm going to put in my letter. That's what I'm going to let go of today. So just answer some of these questions. Rachenda, hello. I never learned what a truly loving relationship should be like. Okay, so that's the regret. So where does that come from? Why do you feel like that? So this is what write down. Why do you feel like that? Where does this regret stem from? And then what can you do about it now? Like there's so many things you can do. It is never too late to learn how to do anything. It's never too late to change anything or become who you want to become. But for you, Rachenda, I would say, I would, if we were working together in a private session, I would say to you, what is the relationship with yourself like at the moment? Are you loving yourself at the moment? Where do you seek guidance or support on what a loving relationship should look like? Who do you listen to? Who do you listen to about this? What are you doing about it to change it? Yeah, so these are the things that I would talk to you about in a private session. David is saying, no, Marianne, yep. David saying, I did not choose that. I chose to thrive, but cannot cause of others. So David, if you're referring to what I said about being inside of your mother's womb and taking on her loneliness, if that's what you're talking about, no, you didn't choose that. I agree with you. You didn't choose that. A lot of us didn't choose what happened to us, but the good thing is, David, is that you can change that. And we've actually designed a meditation in our subscription program, which is for every single age. So we're doing guided meditations to go back and heal all of the parts of you, including starting from the womb. So our very first month, which was last month, was a guided meditation on beginning to heal the fetus inside of the mother's womb. So it can be changed, David. Rachenda, abuse as a child, isolation, no interaction with other people. Okay, so again, I would say to you, firstly, I'm sorry to read that's what you experienced, but I would say to you, Rachenda, what is it like now? What are your relationships like now? Do you have a lot of interaction with other people? Have you blocked yourself completely from human connection to protect yourself? Yeah? So if we have never experienced true connection, or we've never felt that we're accepted, or we can reach out and ask for help, or that we can be in relationship with other wholeheartedly, you're a hermit, right? So what happens when the abuser leaves, or when we become adults and we step out into the world on our own thinking we're free? We take on the role of the abuser and we abuse ourselves. And it's unconscious, but that is exactly what we do. Because let's say for 20 years you were being abused. Let's say for 20 years someone was pigeonholing you, someone was manipulating you. What happens then? What happens when you get set free? You don't know what to do. You don't know how to be. You don't know how to be this person who's free of that abuse. So this is the way our mind works, yeah? So when the abuser leaves, we need someone to step in as the abuser so that we can continue to survive in our pain. And that is what we do. There is comfort in our pain. So because change is quite scary and fear and resistance can step in to stop us to change, we want to continue to sit in our pain, because that is the pain that we've grown in. That is the pain that we find comfort in. Yeah? So just as other children who are fortunate and get to experience a loving family where they're supported and nurtured and loved and inspired and, you know, are pushed to become amazing adults and all of that, when they leave the nest, that's what they go do for themselves. Yeah, they go on and they find happiness and they thrive and they're brave and they travel and they do all these things because that's what they're taught as children. But for others who have been abused, we do exactly the same thing. Yeah, when we leave the nest, we go do what we were taught to do. We go do what was done to us, to ourselves, because that's how we know how to be in the world. But the beautiful thing is that right now, in this moment, you can make a decision to change. And you can begin, if you haven't been doing the meditations, you can begin to heal that and step out of your pain slowly or quickly, in whichever way you want to do it. But it has to come, it has to be a decision that you make, and it has to be a full-on commitment. Like, you cannot allow yourself to slip back into that pain and to be in fear or resistance. So it all starts with one decision. One decision, yeah? So what I'm saying to you is that, yes, it's messed up what happened to you. Yes, all of that trauma and that grief and that sorrow and anguish, it can all be healed and it can all be changed. And there's always going to be parts of you that are just that little bit sensitive. Yeah, where you can heal your wounds and you can thrive and change and grow. You'll always carry a little bit of that sensitivity. It's just, you just get stronger. You get stronger, and that sensitivity, at dealing with that sensitivity. Yeah. So I hope that helps. The guided meditation, this is what the guided meditation are designed to do. They're designed to help you heal from that stress, the memory of stress. We remove the memory of stress from the body so that you can begin to step into the life that you want, so that you can move away from your pain and everything that you experienced as a child. Okay, hi Michael, welcome. Yes, absolutely, Rachenda. Exactly. So if it's all you know, it's all you do. But sweetie, like, it's time to change that, yeah? You can change that. You have the power within you to change that. And when you do, when you begin to see yourself as this beautiful, loving person who wants love, who deserves love, who can love herself, you will begin to attract people into your life who will love and support you. The minute you make that decision to change, the minute you decide, I'm going to start taking care of me now, you open up the door to receiving, just that little bit. One little step changes the way things play out in your life in general. One little step towards opening the door to receiving, because you're choosing to love yourself, you're choosing to do things that nurture yourself, sends a message out into the universe, and the universe is like, oh, she's ready to receive love now. Let's send her someone who's going to love her. Let's send her someone who's going to support her, and it'll blow your mind. It will blow your mind, because people will begin to come in different ways. And it may be a stranger in the street who smiles at you and says hello. It may be the girl that you buy your coffee off in the morning who says, you look really pretty today. All of that is love coming in. Yeah, it's all coming in, and it's because you made the decision to begin to nurture and love yourself. Okay, hi Pearl. So Martha's saying, I was alone as a girl, abused, and grew up not being able to trust anyone. I'm an introvert, always have been. Fear keeps me in. Right. So the thing with fear is that it keeps you safe. Yeah. And so if you have a belief that you can't trust anyone, if you have issues around trust, then you will always assume the worst in people. Yeah. And I know, because I had that as well. Every time I would see a man, or I would meet a man and he was nice to me, I would assume the worst of him. I'd be like, oh, what does he want? Obviously he wants something from me, right? So this was my mentality. No trust, even women. I'd be like, oh, why is she being so nice? Now, these people were potentially just nice people, but because I had a belief that I couldn't trust anyone because everyone was out to get me or hurt me or abuse me, I wasn't seeing things for how they really were. And so for you, Martha, I would say, what is going on there? Yeah, where is it? If the trust is around the abuse, that's the section, that's the part that you need to heal. Yeah, because the reality is if you believe you can't trust anyone, that's going to be true. You are going to meet people that you can't trust. But if we can change that, if we can shift that for you, and we can find a way for you to get to know yourself better so that you can understand why you feel the way you feel, why you believe the things you believe, and you begin to trust yourself so much, you will intuitively know if people are good. Yeah? Because we all want human connection. We all yearn for human connection and human love, and it is the most invigorating feeling when you meet people and you truly, truly trust them, unconditionally trust them, because you trust yourself now. Yeah, but that only comes when you really get to know yourself really, really well. Just like if there is anyone in your life that you've trusted, you probably got to know them really, really well first, right? And then you decided, okay, oh wow, they just did that. I can trust them now. So it's the same with yourself. Get to know yourself really well. Dig deep, go deep, look through what has happened and begin to understand how these things have shaped you as a human being. So I hope that helps. Marianne, this makes sense. Richenda, thank you so much. You're so welcome. So now that we've answered all the questions, let's talk about the letter and we'll wrap it up. So with the letter, what you need to do is you need to literally write yourself a letter of forgiveness. Yeah. So it's really important to use pen and paper. Do not type it, because when you write with pen and paper, what you're doing is you're getting the energy out of your body. You are expressing those emotions. You are emptying out your cup. You want to empty out your cup of these emotions, this heaviness that you carry in your heart. And so you write, Dear Anthea, I'm so sorry that I have shamed you for all these years. I'm so sorry that I've criticized you and blamed you and disrespected you and blamed you for stopping me from my belief of stopping me from trying to become an actress and from carrying this. And just start. Whatever comes, write it out. Whatever memory shows up, write it out. Allow yourself to express forgiveness towards yourself. And in doing that letter, other things. Your intuition may guide you to other things, whatever it is. Write it all out and just go. Go on a writing rampage. Take as long or as little as you want. And so as you do the apology, include some forgiveness in there as well. I forgive you for being a 10-year-old and not understanding that this was just somebody's opinion. And I forgive you. Yeah, talk to your younger self. So Marianne, you're writing this letter to your younger self and all of the younger selves before you. Yeah, if it's just one age you want to focus on, then drop into your heart. Literally just close your eyes and imagine that you're moving from your head into your heart. Take a deep breath, drop into your heart, and then start writing from your heart, because that is where we release all of our suppressed emotions from. Become vulnerable. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, because there's power in your vulnerability, and then begin expressing. And if you're crying while you're doing that, good. It means the emotions are coming out. If you're feeling angry, good. Write it down on the paper. Whatever it is you are feeling, express it. Express it. And if the paper rips, good. Whatever it is happening, good. Yeah, just get it out there. And ask for forgiveness, and then apologize, all in the one letter. So are there any questions? Any questions about the letter? And then when you finish writing that letter, you burn it. Yeah, you burn the letter. Obviously, please be safe with fire and buckets and wherever it is you're going to burn it. But I usually like to do my burning at night, somewhere safe, under the moon. And in that moment where I'm watching all of this stuff that I want to let go of go up in flames, I make a decision in that moment that I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. And if it shows up again, or if a new layer of healing shows up, that I will find a way to heal it, because I deserve to be free of that, because I've been carrying it for too long, because I deserve joy, and I deserve human connection, and I deserve to manifest in any dream that I want, and to go for any dream that I have. So how does that sound to everyone? Does that sound doable? Are there any questions about the letter? No? Okay. So to wrap up lesson 1, what I'm going to do is I've got some cards. So when my clients come and have a private session with me, I get them to pick a self-mastery card. Rechenda's saying it sounds hard. Yeah, it is. It is hard. But you know what? Personal development work is hard, and it does make you uncomfortable, and you can suppress a lot of emotions, but it's worth it. You have two choices, Richenda. You can either stay the same, which I know you don't want to, or you can do the work and you can begin to take that uncomfortable step to move towards change. And what happens when you do that? When you go on this hard journey, you are rewarded for it. You will be rewarded for it, because you step out of the unconscious role of the victim or the conscious role of the victim. You step out of that and you step towards becoming the hero of your story. Yeah, not the victim. You don't want to be the victim. You want to be the hero of your story, where you save yourself. You save yourself from that story. So it's completely up to you. But Richenda, know that in this group you're supported, yeah? And you're loved and you're supported. And no matter how hard it is, you are here with other people who are on the same journey as you. And there will always be someone here to support you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a card for everyone. So I'm just picking like a group card. And then I've got an affirmation card as well that I'm going to pick. Okay. Whoa, wow. Okay, so the card that I picked is maturity. As a master, I am unaffected by surprises. I know the ways of the world. I have gone beyond displaying my ego. I take care of the reputation of others. So I guess what this card is saying And I think more than what the words have said, the word maturity stands out to me the most in relation to this lesson, because what happens to us when we carry these wounds from our childhood is that these wounds can cause us to behave childlike. Yeah. Hi, Vivan, beautiful lady. Vivan's just saying, when you own your story, you step into your power. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where we want you to be, because when you're in your power, you can create any kind of life that you want. So, maturity. Yeah. I had to become really mature and begin to take responsibility for my actions. I had to take responsibility for my part of my trauma. Now, I'm not saying you taking responsibility for what happened to you back then, but you taking responsibility for now. So again, I'll say it again. What happened to you as a child was horrible, and you didn't deserve it, and you didn't deserve for it to affect your whole entire life, but it did, and it has. And now as an adult, you have a golden opportunity to step into your power, and you do that by healing yourself. And I believe that that's what taking responsibility is. When you decide that you are going to do everything you can, everything you have within you to change your story, to change your life. Yeah. And these are my Illuminate affirmation cards that I designed last year. So I'm going to pick one for everyone as well. Okay. I allow joy to enter my heart. So I don't think I could have picked two better cards for this lesson. So I allow joy to enter my heart. Joy can be when you're walking down the street and you see your favorite flower, or when you go outside and you feel the sunshine hit your face. It can be a smile that you get from a stranger. It can be whatever it is, yeah? Whatever it is, small. Think small. Allow small amounts of joy. Find joy. Seek joy. I seek joy, and joy seeks me. Yeah, that can be your affirmation for the week until the next lesson. I seek joy, and joy seeks me. And so when you think that, when you think those words that you're seeking joy, you will find it. You will find joy. And so allow that joy to step into your heart while you're using your maturity to begin to heal your story, to begin to heal your past. Hi, Ellie. Hi, David. We're just about to wrap up this call, so please go back and watch it again. Good luck, everyone, with doing your letters and burning them. If you do have any questions, please do a post in the group. Thank you all so much for being here. It was really beautiful supporting you today, and I look forward to the next time that we connect. Sending you all so much love.